Dear friends, we're here to celebrate the inauguration of the House of Europe, of the joint offices of the Commission and of the European Parliament here today. It is extremely important that we do so, because we need public spaces to discuss and to talk about major issues in Europe that change our lives, and that get co-decided by all of us together, in our countries and in Brussels. The European Parliament, after the Lisbon Treaty, co-decides on almost every major issue. The environment and how we protect it, and how we can create millions of new jobs through protecting it. Energy, and how we can create energy independence for a continent. Immigration, a major issue that has come up lately. Fundamental rights, and fighting terrorism, and how we find the correct balance between the two. All these are issues that the European Commission launches initiatives on, that the European Council, the Prime Ministers and the European Parliament co-decide on. And if we do not have discussions on these issues in our countries, if members of Parliament take a plane and fly to Brussels every week, engage in tremendously difficult discussions and negotiations, in hard politics, because rest assured, we do not abandon ideological hats when we leave our countries. The battles, the ideological ones in Brussels, are very strong and very difficult. If leaving our countries we don't have our people and the instructions that they give to us, if we haven't managed at the same time to inform them of how it is that we feel, that we understand these debates to go, then democracy has a problem in Europe. So I am very, very pleased and very honored to be here with the President of the Commission to be able to inaugurate this House together. We talk about power to the people. Let's give it to them. Let's hope that this is a place that these debates, lively ones, can happen. Dear friends, the financial crisis, recently immigration, have brought us in front of a crossroads, not so much in my view of politics, as of values. And the President of the Commission very elegantly talked about that. There are values we need to rediscover, I feel, and many of us in the Parliament feel. Responsibility is a major value. Some countries in Europe have in the past years violated it. Responsibilities towards their partners, towards treaties that we all signed together. They are making a major effort to come back to the value of responsibility. They have to, they should, they must. It's important. But it's not just countries that have violated it, but also, I submit to you, and the Parliament submits to you, financial institutions. The financial crisis that happened in Europe didn't just happen, or in the world. When people give AAA ratings to junk bonds, that is as big a moral of a hazard as anyone, any government, or any country, or any people can commit. And it's quite important for us, in discussing responsibility, to think about that. The European Parliament has proposed, and on March 11th, the Prime Ministers of the Eurozone agreed to discuss the creation of a financial transaction tax on financial institutions in the world and in Europe, to be able to get, not from our taxpayers, but from banks as well, the ability to contribute as we're struggling to get out of this crisis, to be able to fund those mechanisms, to be able to fund our growth in the midst of necessary cuts. Second value, I would say equality. This is a major value around the world today, and in Europe as well. We see major inequalities developing, not just necessarily between Europe, China, or the United States, or North and South, but you have a vast distribution of wealth that doesn't go to everyone equally. It seems that in the midst of a financial crisis, we have in fact a broadening of the gap between the very wealthy and the not so wealthy. This is a major issue for us. And you know, we look at competitiveness of Europe, and we look at some of the developing countries, and how labor standards can be low there, and how the capability exists for environmental degradation, and how in some cases you don't even have democracy. And these may be competitive advantages for them. I would submit to you short-term ones. But is this the model that the EU would wish ever to emulate? Shouldn't we instead do what the Commission has proposed, President Barroso, with the Strategy 2020? Shouldn't we invest in education, invest in research and development, invest in innovation, invest in the things that the Netherlands have been at the forefront for so many decades in Europe? I submit to you that we should. We should have growth and competitiveness based on quality, not based on inequality. A third value, a major one, democracy. This has also been challenged in Europe in the past, I'd say 10 years, especially after September 11th. The fight against terrorism is hugely important. But what distinguishes us as Europeans is the fundamental value and power and fights we've given in our lifetimes to defend fundamental rights, to defend privacy, to defend issues that are hugely important, that distinguishes us from others. And that balance potentially had been lost. The European Parliament last year rejected, first time in its history, an agreement between the EU and the US, the infamous SWIFT agreement, for some of you who may have followed these developments. An agreement that subsequently was, of course, approved. We asked for new negotiations, and I have to tell you that the only reason we did this was to ensure that there can be a better value, that we would fight terrorists wherever they are, root them out, at the same time defending as much as we all can together fundamental values. And very proud of the fact that a good friend, a Dutch MEP, led that fight at the time. Finally, dear friends, solidarity. President Barroso mentioned it, and it's an extremely important value. And it's one that is deeply challenged today in Europe. Everyone seems to be scared of the financial crisis, but that's not the only problem. Everyone seems to be scared of each other. There's a new debate beginning, a very dangerous one in my view, in which suddenly we start looking at each other not as potential allies in this battle, but as potential enemies almost. How can you ever face the environmental crisis? How can you ever be a leader in the world unless you do it all together, all 27? We're the biggest market, we're the biggest power. No United States, no China, no BRIC countries, no anyone could ever compete with Europe if we actually bind together. How can you face the immigration issue unless we bind together? Everyone in their own borders, shutting themselves in their own shells? I submit to you, no. Let me tell you that in the past 2 months, personally, and that's the only personal note I want to bring in these remarks, I felt extremely proud and honored when in Libya, a Greek military plane 2 months ago transferred to safety 3 Dutch militiamen that were captured by the Libyans. I felt pride. I felt pride as a Greek. And yet, it turns out I'm not just a Greek. I'm also a pig. Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, Spain, right? I'm also, turns out, a pig. Well, let me tell you something. I'm very proud to be a Greek. I'm proud to be a pig. I'm proud to be Italian. I'm proud to be Spanish. I'm proud to be German, and I would be very proud to be German if Germany had troubles. I'm proud to be Polish. Today, I am especially proud to be Dutch, because I'm proud to be European. Thank you very much.